Just being, just busting your balls a little bit, baby.
It's a loving bust.
The loving bust.
Get a load of this society.
Get a load of this. Bernie for president.
Oh God, my stand.
It sounded like a gong.
It kind of was. That was the intro gong. That's what.
Oh my God, should we get an intro gong, or is that cultural appropriation?
Fuck. Well, if it's let's think of an American style gong that we could use. That isn't cultural appropriation.
Is there such a thing? An American style gong? Would that just
like
be a
cowbell?
symbol? A cowbell?
We could use a cowbell.
Oh my God. We're getting Bodunk now.
Yeah, I think so. Or like just like a banjo riff that we start.
Could it just be a hog call? Like that?
Oh, yeah. No, that's much better.
Yeah.
The introduction. Sweet.
Yeah. Come on, pig.
Yeah, okay. We'll get somebody famous to record one.
Video game poke-mism.
Oh, wow. Real twist on the formula.
There we go.
So, we kind of had a soft launch this last week.
A soft launch.
A soft launch.
We were only offering three items on the menu.
It was a reduced menu and reduced staff, but we put the episode out on the internet.
Sure did.
That episode being the podcast video game Podtimism. It's the optimist video game variety show where two best friends talk about the wonderful world of gaming.
Hey,
got it in one.
That was beautiful.
Got it in one.
That was the coffee. That was the coffee right there.
That was the coffee. My name is Chase, and I said that right on the first time.
My name's David, and we have 60 plays already across all of our platforms. We're pretty much the biggest podcast on the internet. Thank you, Garen, for all 60 plays.
I was going to ask you, now that we've had a meteoric launch, how your life has changed being the podcast star that you are now.
I mean, it's just big podcast energy all the time. You know, you just go outside and people just look at you differently. They treat you differently. You know, you hear people like whispering behind you, like, "Oh, is that the video game Podtimist guy?" And then I look behind, I just give them a wink, and then they know, and then I just go on. So people have been pretty respectful so far, but we'll see.
How is it being recognized at restaurants? Like, do you get like harassed at all?
You know, in Santa Barbara, I get more harassed for just being young. True story, the other day I went out to a restaurant here, and the guy next to me was like an older guy, balding, white hair, and I sit down next to him, and he's just like shooting the shit with me, and he's all of a sudden just out of nowhere, he's like, "Just so you know, I fucking hate you because of your hair."
What?
Just straight up. He's just like, "You're going to look like me one day, but I'm just going to tell you, I hate that you're sitting next to me right now." I'm like, damn, okay.
That's really nice. I have to assume it's because you're famous on podcasting now.
Yeah, maybe he's just even more, he was just even more angry because he's like, damn, he's got a full head of hair and he's a Potter? Damn.
Yeah, his podcast about balding and the trials and tribulations that come with it isn't quite as popular. It only has maybe 40 to 30 views.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough sell because it's just called Damn Millennials. Yeah. And it's not really going towards the right market.
Yeah, the target demographic is a little rough there.
Yeah, especially if you're doing a pod. Just not a lot of boomer energy in the pod world, that's for sure.
But yeah, no, big time famous now. I will be expecting calls from all my favorite video game designers and developers. So looking forward to that, Hideo and the like.
Yeah, most definitely. They're just gonna come crawling to us now after hearing the amazing Strand type games that we've made.
Yeah. I'm thrilled.
You sound thrilled.
Yeah, my monotone and baritone voice is expressing my excitement over this.
I'm thrilled.
I'm excited.
Insert excited phrase here.
But the show must go on.
Sure does.
We have to continue making podcasts.
Forever.
For the fans.
For the fans.
Yep.
Garen and the angry old guy.
And the angry old man.
At the restaurant I ate at.
And the rest of our fan base now. Hey, have you been playing video games?
I have.
Which ones have you been in there with?
I beat Pokemon finally. I beat the
little congratulations.
I beat the little extra content at the end.
Yep.
And then I was just like, I have vanquished you, and now I don't want to look at you ever again.
Yeah.
It was fine. It was a good game, but at the end it just felt like a chore, and I was glad to be done with it.
Sure.
But after that, I started up Uncharted: The Lost Legacy.
Yeah, I saw you were playing that. It described to me as, how is this one related to the rest of the Uncharted games?
It's adjacent to them. So it stars Chloe, who's the female character introduced in the second one, who's also like a thief.
Okay.
And also Nadine Ross, who is the badass like military lady from the fourth one.
Sure, yeah.
So they team up together and go on their own pillaging rampage through India to try and find the lost treasure of Belur, the tusk of Ganesh.
Did this one come out after Uncharted 4?
It came out after Uncharted 4, maybe a year afterwards it came out. It was pretty soon after. So the story takes place afterwards too. And there's definitely some nods to it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But cool. It was good.
Yeah, are you enjoying it? Oh, did you already beat it?
I already beat it. It's short. It's just like a little... It was like 8.5 hours.
Yeah.
It was just straight through. It was fun though. It took a second for it to get kind of going. But then it definitely hit all the classic Uncharted beats that you want to hit. Just cool environments, tight gunplay.
Yeah.
And just the grapple hook. Oh my God, the grapple hook is so good. Just anything with the grapple hook was so much fun, especially when it's you blast somebody and then you grapple hook away because you don't have any more ammo, and you swing around a ledge and jump on someone, knock them out, and take their gun and just start shooting people again. Oh, it's so good.
They really got the combat loop down in the later Uncharted series, it seems like.
They really did. Looking about how much it's changed since the first one, which is pretty much just almost like a Gears of War
kind of, just cover-based shooter,
pop and lock, cover shooter. Whereas now it's just, if you stay in one place, you're gonna die essentially. So you have to just run around like a maniac. You're diving into water, popping up, grappling things, shooting people with RPGs. It's just mayhem. It's pretty fun.
It's good. Are the graphics quite as outstanding as they were in the fourth one?
Oh yeah, the graphics are amazing.
It was crazy really that good. When I was playing through the fourth one, that was just every scene that there was some sort of animation. It was just shocking how good it looked.
No, I would definitely recommend this one because it's cheaper too. It's $20 normally. I got it on sale for 10.
Damn.
So it's just a fun little game to play through, and they add a little element where it makes it easier to find those little hidden treasures around. Yeah. You can do a little side quest, and then you get a bracelet that will vibrate if one of the treasures is around, and actually makes it kind of more fun because it'll vibrate, but you won't see any of that twinkling that shows you where it is. So you have to try and find it. You can see just kind of how hidden in a way that they kind of put them.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, and it makes me feel less paranoid if I leave an area and
that you're not leaving something behind.
Yeah, I'm not leaving something behind. Yeah.
That's cool.
Really good one. And then I started playing Control.
Oh, nice. You're in there.
I just started it last night.
Sweet.
I'm already 100% in. I'm all in on this game.
It's a pretty good game. I think even from the get-go, maybe 10 minutes in, I was okay, no, I'm here for this.
Yeah, just it feels like grown-up Stranger Things, the game.
Kind of, yeah. It's got a Stranger Things vibe. It's got almost a what's the dude who does Indigo Prophecy and Heavy Rain?
Oh,
David Cage.
David Cage, yeah.
It's got a little bit of that, some kind of heavy sci-fi stuff. But yeah, no, it's great. Though, I don't know who did the level design or the just the overall world design for that, but god damn, did they just kill it. The brutalistic structures inside the building just looks so fucking good.
The graphics are pretty
outstanding. Yeah.
Yeah. Graphics are real good. And I just love that it's kind of trippy. Like, it messes with your head, like, from the get-go.
Yeah.
So, like, wait, wasn't there a door here when I was going back? But now I have to go through this one and go back that way?
Yeah, they definitely play with, like, the world's continuity in a way that that's got to be so hard to do without it feeling like, oh, the game's broken. That, like, oh, it's an effect of the world rather than, like, the shitty game.
Yeah.
So that was impressive for sure.
Totally. And then once spoilers for like the first 5 minutes of the game, which really isn't a spoiler.
Yeah.
When you become the director.
Yep.
And then all of the pictures around the building of
Change
the director become you.
Yeah.
I was just great. Like, okay, I'm here for this. This is cool.
It's so cool. There's parts of it that are really subtle like that I can really appreciate.
Yeah, it definitely has an attention to detail.
Yeah.
That I wasn't expecting it to. It just seems like a really already just polished game. I'm anticipating getting lost in it quite a bit. So that's gonna be probably my next week or two playing through that one.
Sweet.
Yeah. How about you? What have you been playing?
Let's see. I'm still playing through Dark Souls 3.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm getting a little bit farther into that one. I'm feeling the motivation to keep going kind of wane a little bit. Mm-hmm. It's just, again, I'll go through these parts where it's like I'm just kicking ass in the game. Nobody can touch me. And then I'll hit another wall and just get crushed.
Yeah.
Like just destroyed for a little while. So I think I'm probably like maybe a third or a quarter of the way through the game. Mm-hmm. Maybe a little bit farther. I'm not actually sure how long it is, but it's good. Like I'm enjoying it about as much as I did Dark Souls 1, so that's been pretty good. I went back and like finished the last like hour or two of Jedi Fallen Order.
Okay, so you finally finished that one?
Yeah, I hadn't beat it and just was like, I need to like just be done with this and say that I like did the whole game.
Was the ending good? I know the spoiler of the ending because of YouTube.
I think it did end pretty well. Like, I think the overall like draw of the story it's definitely like, it's Star Warsy, but I think it was like a pretty tight story that they didn't really like have a lot of chaff in there.
Chaff?
Yeah, like there wasn't a lot of extra shit that was like, that was unnecessary, or like I didn't need all that. It felt pretty clean.
Gotcha. All killer, no filler?
Pretty much. There's some filler parts of the actual game, but I feel like the story was pretty well told. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I enjoyed that quite a bit. It's tight. It's good shit. So that was satisfying, and then I started on a new game. Started into Dragon Quest Builders 2.
That was not the Dragon Quest I thought you were going to say.
I know, yeah. I had heard about this game. There's a handful of people, like I think Jason Schreier was a big fan of this last year, and they had talked about how it was like really, really good, and like really all I had seen was that it kind of looked like it was based on Minecraft a little bit, like voxel based gameplay. And I was like, I don't know if I'm really all into that. Like, that's not necessarily my bag. I've played Minecraft before and don't know if I need another one that's skinned with Dragon Quest stuff. Yeah. But the great 2020 video game drought has led me to reconsider my options. And I got back into it after, I think it was Rush Frushtick on the Besties podcast had said that like it plays like a Lego set. Insofar as there are things that you will need to build, and it gives you like a blueprint essentially, and you have to go find the materials to make it. Buildings and shit like that will affect how the like villagers in your area operate and what they do, which will in turn like unlock other stuff and allow you to build other cooler shit. For whatever reason, that description just got me into it, and I was immediately like, okay, no, I got this. I want to do that.
So it's not just like Minecraft, but you can kind of play God a little bit with NPCs kind of as well?
Yeah, there's characters in it, so you can interact with these other people, but it's way more directed than Minecraft is. Like, there's very specific missions and goals, a storyline, so you have to you show up to a village, it's all decrepit, and like you have to kind of rebuild it, and like, oh, we need a house to stay in. Okay, now you need to build some beds. Okay, now you need to build a bathroom and shit like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so it's almost got like this, like kind of feels like The Sims or like Dark Cloud from PS2. Like it had a little bit of city building there as well.
Dark Cloud, you loved that game.
I did like that, and for the same reason that there's these requirements of a city that you have to do of like, okay, we need 5 different kinds of buildings, we need 2 different bathhouses, and we need this, that, and the other thing, and like the rewards that you get from that will allow you to make a better city in turn. So it's just this constant loop of progress and building and building and progress. And oh man, just got me. So I really, really like it so far.
It sounds like a Chase Albee game.
Just absolutely.
That little slow drip of dopamine. Just come on. You can catch me, can't you?
A slow drip of dopamine combined with something that almost feels like work. Like there is an efficiency model in there that I want to optimize and get better and more fast. And yeah.
Oh my gosh. You're really just letting out your Northern European roots right there.
I don't know why this is. Again, we've talked about this before, but like I wouldn't describe myself as like a workaholic or somebody who's just constantly in need of that, but something about games that almost feel like that. I'm just, oh yeah, give me the work. I want to build a building.
Is that Russian?
I guess so. I don't know why that was where I went, but
I don't know how to do like a Nordic accent. So
yeah, I am Nordic and have no clue how to do a Norwegian accent.
I guess that was it.
That was an attempt.
Would it be just like from SpongeBob?
Oh yeah, Happy Leave Erickson Pay.
Yeah,
dinger dinger dinger.
I think that's what you were channeling just now.
Yeah, pretty much. So, with Dragon Quest in mind, the video game Podtimistic thing of my week has been games that you can tell are riffing on another kind of game, but nobody really seems to care because it's like still a very, very good game. So like Dragon Quest is so obviously Minecraft.
Yeah.
Everything is a block. You can break blocks and build other shit, and with the other stuff you build other things. That loop of Minecraft is so there. And so like the comparison is really easy to draw, but it's also still really, really good. And I kind of like that nobody's giving them a super hard time about like, oh, this is unoriginal or shitty. Like that wasn't really the reception. It was like, no, this is still a really, really good game. And the same thing with like Fallen Order. It takes a lot from Dark Souls and it takes a lot from Uncharted. At the end of the day, it's still like an incredible game. And so I can appreciate that they kind of wear their influences on their sleeve, but that it's kind of accepted as like, yeah, that's okay. That's fine. Whereas like I feel like when I see movies that are really derivative, I'm kind of hard on them, or music or books or anything. It's like, oh, this is just clearly this other thing.
Sure. You can be, I guess there's a difference between what a derivative and taking inspiration from.
Yeah.
Right? Derivative would just be, not putting any unique spin on it whatsoever or make anything more interesting from it.
Yeah.
Whereas you are inspired by elements of another game and then you build upon it. And that's how you make your own thing.
It's true. I for whatever reason, it just feels like there's a little bit more leeway in video games. Like you can kind of get away with it a little bit more.
I could see that. Yeah.
I think just because it's hard to copy someone else's work in video games. Like you still have to build the fucking video game, which is not easy. So there's inevitably it's going to feel a little bit different, even if it is like, well, this is still just like Minecraft. But it's different and better.
Different craft.
Yeah, it's different.
Or it's like that Chinese ripoff of Overwatch.
Oh, yeah. I guess maybe that one goes a little bit too far.
Yeah.
Do you have something that's fueling your sense of podtimism this week?
It's like the free games you get with the online subscription.
To what, PlayStation?
PlayStation or any other one where they just kind of like give you a couple.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that do that nowadays. Like PlayStation does it, Xbox does it. And I think there's like Humble Bundle does it. If you pay like just bullshit amount of money or whatever you want, you can get like some good games.
Nintendo kind of does it. If you have an online subscription, you also get the like classic NES and SNES games.
Yeah. I just like those freebies, especially when they're fire freebies like Shadow of the Colossus this month on PlayStation.
Oh my God, is it?
Yeah, dude, it's the remastered one.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So once I'm done with Control, I'm gonna dip my toesies back into that one because it's been a minute since I played that.
I'm gonna get up in there. We can talk about that on maybe the next one. God damn, that game is good.
The thing that amazes me about that game is that it's just considered universally so great, but no one's ever tried to make anything even close to it since it came out.
I know, it's so strange. Like, there's parts of other games that I'm like, you could kind of see this as Shadow of the Colossus, but like that core game loop of like all you're doing is fighting big monsters and it's hard to kill them. I don't know that a lot of people have done that very much.
I don't think any other game has done it like that.
Certainly not as well.
I don't know if it's some like reverence that people have for the game. Like, you just can't. You can't.
Yeah,
do it
you can't
better.
beat it. Yeah.
or if it's just like people are scared to attempt it or what. But
Yeah.
I'd be down for someone to try.
Yeah, give it a go. See what's up.
Because that's arguably the greatest game on the PS2.
Yeah, I could see an argument for that. It's unreal how cool that game was and original.
And still original, even now.
Yeah,
like all these years later.
Like 15 years or whatever it's been.
It never became a derivative. Never became like a genre, like so many other games do.
Surprising. Again, it's very surprising.
Yeah, it's strange, but
yeah, I enjoy that companies are definitely handing out games a little bit more. It feels a little bit like, thanks for having this online service that you might not use all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And then sometimes, every once in a while, there's just like, oh damn, this game.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Xbox
it really is just kind of my frugality speaking.
Yeah, no, that's true. Xbox did the Game Pass, which is like a huge benefit. Like they give you a lot of stuff and a lot of really good games.
Yeah, I've seen that one. That's one of the only reasons I would consider, sorry Xbox fanboys, but getting an Xbox at this point.
Yeah, I'd like missed a handful of games that had come out on the Xbox kind of early on in its life cycle just because I didn't have one for so long. And so the Game Pass allowed me to I never played this Forza game or this Gears game. Let me just jump back in there, and it's super easy. It was really worth it.
So how does it work? What is it?
It is kind of like a subscription service, like almost like Netflix or something, where you subscribe to Xbox Game Pass, and you're allowed to go not rent, but download a game that's on their service, and then play it for the entire thing. It's like it's on your console, so it's not like you're streaming it or something. It's not like Stadia.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just there, and then they like rotate in and out different games, but there is like a pretty sizable catalog on there.
Interesting.
So it's good stuff. And they every now and then they'll just throw like, I think Outer Worlds was like on Game Pass like immediately when it launched. Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? Like, that's pretty high value to just be giving it away.
They're hurting this generation.
I think so. I think they're trying to set themselves up for success in the next one as well. Trying to get people back on board, which shit, man, that's working.
It's not a bad way to do it.
Not at all.
Give people free stuff. Love it.
Sick. Yep. Hey, do you want to talk about our main game?
Yeah, let's do it. Cue the jazzy music. Go.
Just a delicious, sweet transition.
Yeah, the transition music.
That's pretty good. That's it actually. So welcome to Good Games. It is the section of our show where we talk about the games of yesteryear, gush about all the things that we love about them, and maybe talk about maybe some critical feedback in a very positive and podtimistic way.
Critical feedback or just feedback?
Just a little feedback, maybe how we would improve on it if it came out today.
Gotcha. Just being, just busting your balls a little bit, baby.
It's a loving bust.
The Loving Bust. That sounds like a band name.
It sounds like a really weird section on a adults only website.
Yeah. Loving Busts.
The Loving Bust.
Oh, God.
We mentioned this at the end of last show, and I think I misspoke. I think I said that we were going to talk about Pokemon Coliseum, but we're going to talk about Pokemon Stadium, which is the one that came out for N64.
Oh, what's Coliseum? Is that GameCube?
Yeah, Coliseum was on GameCube.
Oh. That's the same game.
By and large, it's the same game. But there was Pokemon Stadium and Stadium 2, which came out, I think, within like a year of each other.
Yeah.
Pokemon Stadium 1 came out on March 23rd of 2000, and Pokemon Stadium 2 came out March 26th of 2001. So yeah, within a year of one another. So yeah, we've I think because Pokemon's been on the brain a little bit, we've been thinking about some of the older games here. Again, I think this is one that anybody listening will probably be like, "Oh, I've played that. That's not an indie gem," much like Mario Party was not. But it's not a perfect game, so I figured it would be a good candidate for us talking about it here.
No, it's a good one. If you take the nostalgia goggles off, it's probably not a well-made game. If you take those off.
And I kind of want to touch on that in a second here, like how that would affect how this game is sort of thought of and reviewed. But let me hit you with some quick facts.
Hit me with the facts. Stadium.
Okay. Like I said, came out March of 2000, so it is a 20-year-old game this month.
Oh my god! Wow. Okay, you didn't have to do me like that at the beginning of this segment, JSLB.
How do your bones feel? How do your ancient bones feel?
They feel old.
Yeah, cue the part where we feel old, but this is our very old bones feel even more ancient now, acknowledging that
my
game that we played.
Bones.
So yeah, came out in 2000. I think it was met with like sort of mixed reviews.
Yeah, it was kind of like a big shoulder shrug.
I think so. Some outlets sort of liked it, and some of them just really didn't.
Mm-hmm.
IGN at the time gave it a 8.2 out of 10, which is all things considered pretty good.
That's a pretty good score.
GamePro gave it a 4 out of 5.
That's a pretty good score too.
Nintendo Power, which I'm reluctant to cite because it is Nintendo, so like of course they're gonna be like, this game is sick, dude, it's super good. They gave it an 8.8 out of 10.
Oh my god, just the mouthpiece of the corporation, Nintendo Power.
Nintendo Power is in the pocket of big Nintendo.
No integrity. Pocket big Nintendo
coming to get you.
They're their pocket monster.
Reggie Fils-Aimé is gonna come slip you a clean 100 to give their new video game a good release.
Dude, R.I.P. Reggie, he's out.
I know. However, GameSpot gave it a 5.7 out of 10, so they were not big fans at the time.
Wow, that's quite a difference.
I do have a review from Megafun out of Germany.
This again. Here we go.
Let's hear it. They said, unfortunately, Pokemon are divided. Those who have been fascinated for hours in front of their Game Boy could not part with this game will also enjoy Pokemon Stadium. In order to successfully use your little pupils in combat, you cannot deny a certain portion of strategy to this game, especially if you still have several friends who are also enthusiastic about this game. You will definitely have a few hours of fun ahead of you. There is not much to complain about in terms of graphics either.
What'd they give it?
I believe that was a 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10? Wow.
So thank you, Megafun.
Can we just talk about what kind of game you could make based off of the first sentence of that review? Unfortunately, Pokemon are divided. Like a Pokemon Civil War?
Yeah. Divided among lines drawn in the sand of yesteryear. These Pokemon are fighting with one another.
Poke-War. Poke-War never changes.
It's just Metal Gear, but with Pokemon.
That might actually be kind of tight.
I know, I'm thinking about this, and I do want to play this game.
Like an espionage game. What kind of Pokemon would be like Greninja espionage game?
Yeah, I think you could pretty easily. I think Greninja would be the main character there.
Definitely. Has to be.
Yeah.
Voiced by David Hayter.
Oh my god. Man, I want to play that. Holy hell.
Kojima, get on it.
Would he have any dialogue? Is it like Detective Pikachu where it's actually full like voice, or would it just be David Hayter saying Greninja for 40 hours?
Greninja.
Greninja Gear.
He says he can only say Greninja and Metal Gear, and that's it.
God, I want to play this game. Why doesn't this exist?
Metal Ninja.
Ninja Gaiden. No, that's wrong.
Gaiden. I mean, you can throw some Gaidens in there. That's fine.
There was another outlet called Nintendo Land, which I think has the hottest take and have since been proved absolutely wrong. Yes, Pokemon is a dying fad. First, people would act as Pokemon and smash each other with KO moves. I sat there and watched as a kid got a concussion from a takedown attack. I don't really know what that last sentence means under the context of the review, but in 2000, saying that Pokemon is a dying fad is kind of the most wrong you can be.
Aged like milk.
Aged like milk. That one didn't play out quite how Nintendo Land was hoping on that one. So the gameplay of Pokemon Stadium, if I remember correctly, was mostly just fighting pokes. Like if you took the combat loop from Red and Blue from the Game Boy and just made a game about that, that's pretty much what you're looking at. Yeah,
that's all it was from my recollection. But the cool thing I remember that you could do, because I played it a little bit back in college again, right, with some buddies, you could just choose a team of any Pokemon, like a team of 6.
Right.
And they would all just be like level 50, and you could just battle each other. So that was tight. And you like, I think you like it wouldn't show who you chose,
right,
or something like that. Maybe it did. Maybe it just looked away. But that was That was cool about it. But it had like no story or anything like that from what I remember. It was just come in and fight, and it was just like it was just a multiplayer game.
I think there was a tournament mode where you could fight a handful of battles and like eventually fight a gym leader, but there really wasn't any story attached to that at all. Like it was just the fighting.
I thought there were gym leaders in it.
Yeah, there were.
Wow, I never got to that point as a child.
I don't remember if I did either, but I certainly remember fighting them. A sort of weird wrinkle in all of this is like this game came out in a time where like there wasn't the easily transferable Pokemon. Like you couldn't connect your Game Boy to the internet, nor could you connect your N64 to the internet. So they sold this little peripheral that plugged into the back of your N64 controller that had a Game Boy cartridge adapter on the back of it, such that you could take the games from your Game Boy and put them on your N64. And it's such a wild solution to a problem for literally just one game. Like that is a piece of hardware that does not solve any other problems other than this one.
It's very true, but you had to put yourself back in that time.
That's all you could do. Yeah. What else are you going to do?
And then people were like, man, I love Pokemon, but wouldn't it be awesome to have it like big on the TV and have like better graphics? And that's what they gave you. Like, use your own pokes. Put them in there. Go for it. So that was tight. But definitely probably a waste of resources looking back at it.
I guess I just kind of respect the ingenuity of like, we're going to solve this fucking problem. Like we will be able to get a poke from one game to another despite a lot of hurdles being in front of us.
Good guy Nintendo. Just making it happen for the gamers always.
Yep. So in thinking about this game, like as far as the conceit of most of it, that's kind of it. There's, I guess we should talk about that there are 6 or 8 mini games that you can play that I do remember being pretty fun, but it wasn't particularly robust. Like
I feel like that's just what Nintendo always does.
I guess so, yeah. That like I guess Mario Party might have been hot at the time. They're like, we gotta have mini games. We gotta put them in there.
Yeah, where like if they just have a game that they know is just like not super fleshed out, they'll just throw in like
sprinkle some mini games on
random mini games, like 6. It's like 6 like decent mini games. But like, whatever. Have these 2. Don't say I never gave you nothing.
Again, at the time, I played a lot of them. I played them pretty consistently. For whatever reason, the mini games like were enough to carry me through. And I think the main reason is just because it was Pokemon. I'm like, oh, I get to play as an Ekans. That's fun. I'll play that.
So what were the mini games? I don't remember.
There was Sushi Go Round. You played as a Lickitung and you tried to eat a bunch of sushi.
Oh my god! Yeah. Wow. Okay.
There's some really specific sounds in that minigame.
I don't know if I want to remember the sounds. If it's a Lickitung.
As a Lickitung, yeah. There was Snore War, where you'd control a drowsy and attempt to put the other player to sleep through hypnosis.
Wow. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The Rock Harden minigame, where you have to push Rock like A at the right time to turn your, I think it was the Pokemon before Butterfree. Metapod. You had to turn Metapod into like a stone to stop these like boulders from crushing you. So yeah, there was a handful of mini games, and the game was not particularly fleshed out, which brings me to like I know that the conversation around nostalgia has kind of been talked about, but I'm wondering how much value you can get out of a game based purely on nostalgia, and like how much merit we should give to that. Because I remember having a lot of fun.
Totally. Yeah.
I wouldn't want to shit on this game or like say anything negative about it, but when I'm trying to think about like what I could take optimistically out of this game, it's kind of just like I liked existing in the Pokemon world for a little while.
Pretty much, yeah.
For whatever reason, I think when I was a kid, and I'm sure this is true for a lot of folks, like the conceit of the Pokemon world was so compelling and so intoxicating that I was just like, I kind of just want to be there forever and like live there and catch pokes and be a Pokemon master.
Just level up, go to work, catch them all.
Just go to my tech company job and level up Geodudes all day.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so I guess I'm kind of struggling whether or not to give it credit for a passable video game that does well in making me excited to be in Pokemon. Like, this game I don't think it would be that good if it was just like fighting animals, you know?
Like a zebra versus a giraffe or something like
Correct,
that?
yeah.
But maybe they should make that game.
They should make that game.
Alien versus Predator, zebra versus giraffe. It's just a fucking bloodbath. Anyways, I mean, I think it's a game marketed towards kids, right?
Yes, yeah.
Which is what I think, like, the current complaints about Pokemon games kind of fall flat for me, because they're games for kids. They're not supposed to be complex or crazy or with like wild depth to their battle systems. They're supposed to be like easy introductory games, right?
Yep.
And this, I feel like, was a good example of that, and it's just another way for you to essentially just to play with the Pokemon from your Game Boy games.
Yeah.
And it did that well, I think. Yeah. Right? And I remember playing it with my cousins. You know, you'd put your team in, they'd put their team in. It was fun just to kind of watch the cool animations of all the moves that you know and love. Yeah.
I think it could be compared to, like, if this were to come out today, say that Nintendo put out a game for like one of the VR platforms or something. Like if they put out Pokemon Olympics or something, and it's for the Valve Index or the Oculus or something like that.
Half-Life Pikachu.
Pretty much. Like, if they put that game out now, I think because it's just a little step above where they've been putting out, I think a lot of people would be into that.
Yeah.
Like, if you could be like on the actual battlefield while you're throwing out pokes and shit like that, I think that would be fun, despite the game not being particularly deep, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how you could make Pokemon more deep.
You'd have to just redo the entire system.
Yeah, you have to redo everything. And I mean, I guess they kind of try to do that with like Pokken Tournament, but that's a totally different type of game.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's really no other game like Pokemon.
I mean, there was that game that like just came out that's just essentially Pokemon, but not Pokemon.
What game is that?
Temtem is what it's called.
What is it?
Temtem.
Temtem.
Yeah, it's a game that came out on Steam, and like it is Pokemon. Like, I think if you looked at it and squinted your eyes, it's pretty similar. Like, you're fighting monsters and catching monsters and shit like that. And there's other parts to it, so that's maybe selling it short.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they were specifically going after that market because, like, the Pokemon games, I think, have sort of drifted away from what the fans who grew up with it maybe wanted, or some of them.
It's true. Yeah, they haven't really grown up with like the initial people who played them.
Yeah,
right? Which, like I said, they're still games for kids.
That's what I was going to say. I agree with your point that, like, I don't know that they should be making them a lot different, but I think that game sort of pushed it in the other direction of, like, we want to make sort of a deeper game.
It's true.
But yeah, I think that I would also appreciate if there was a VR game that came out about Pokemon right now, in the same way that when I was quite a bit younger, seeing Pokemon in 3D, I was into, because I don't think that had happened before. I think, like, between Red and Blue coming out and this one coming out, I don't think there was any other like major games that were in 3D where you could fight other pokes. And so just the mere fact that they were putting them out on a console and you could see them in 3D was like kind of a leap forward at the time.
Totally. 100%.
Despite the game being kind of shallow.
It's just cool. That's the point of Pokemon. It's just to see your Pokés doing something.
I think so. I think I can be happy enough with the objectivity of it's just cool to see this.
That's just a cool thing. It's almost like a tech demo.
Kind of, yeah. And I think our purpose in the show is to celebrate the fact that this is kind of a cool tech demo for Pokemon.
For the most part, yeah. How could they have done it better, though?
Let's see. They need something to keep you playing.
Yeah.
I think having this like tournament style thing is not quite enough to keep you in there. I know that like you can take your pokes, put them on Pokemon Stadium, fight them, level them up, and then put them back in your games, like in Red or Blue, which is kind of cool. So you could conceivably use it to just like grind. But yeah, they need something to keep that loop a little bit more engaging. Some way to keep you in there, which in the main games is like there's the story you can go through and there's more pokes to catch, but you can't really do that in this one. So I think they would need to come up with some way to keep you engaged. I think that's a lot easier now with like the internet or something like that. Sorry, I'm sort of off topic here, but in Soul Calibur 2, in the arcade version,
you were all about that.
I was huge into that. There was this feature called like Conquest mode or something like that essentially you would get drafted into a certain like faction and you would fight other people's like AI. Essentially, like the game would learn from how you play because it like kept your profile in this arcade cabinet, and you would fight other people's profiles and it would like gain you like land in this faction war between other people. I don't know why other people don't do this very much, but or other games don't do this very much, but you could easily move that over now into this kind of game of like, okay, you're drafted into, even with like Pokemon Go, right? Like you're either Team Red, Team Yellow, or fucking Blue, or Instinct, or whatever the hell they're called. I haven't played it in a while.
I was about to say, someone doesn't play Pokemon Go.
Not very much. But you could conceivably do that, right? Like you fight these battles and it somehow gains you ground for your team, and that sort of like hooks up into this larger push.
Totally.
Rather than like just being a one battle to another battle and not really meaning a whole lot.
That'd be an interesting idea, and that could be like the way that they get around like having like an open world, because I feel, or like an actual rendered world, I should say, not even just open.
Yeah,
because that was just way beyond their capabilities at that time. Just looking,
I'm sure they just didn't have time.
Their best attempt at what they did now, 20 years later. So yeah, you could just like say, oh, we're gonna go fight these people at this stadium, and have like different types of stadiums.
Right.
Have like an ocean stadium or like a volcano stadium, like stadiums from the show that you remember.
That's true.
And just make it more interesting that way, because I feel like so much of the appeal of Pokemon is the interplay between all of the different media that it is a part of, like the movies, the show, the games, the cards, stuff like that.
Yeah, you kind of would want like consistency between those ones. You could conceivably do like scenarios that you would have to fight through. Like you're given a set of Pokemon from the show in like a particularly rough battle or something like that, and you have to beat the other people. Like
exactly. They did that. They did that in an NBA game or NFL games too.
Right. Yeah.
It's like you have to reproduce like famous plays from the past or like the last season. That's like really tough. Some of them. But that'd be actually pretty interesting. Like you take this team that Ash had against this guy, or like redo the Pokemon movie. Yeah. And it's just like you have to cry on your controller to bring Ash back to life. You must attach your moisture meter to your N64 controller.
There's a small cup on the back side of your controller. You need to cry at least 2 ounces of tears to bring Ash back to life.
And we're going to know if you spit into it or put anything else into it, because we measured the salinity of it.
Yeah, all the salt content's going to tell us whether or not they're real tears or not. Don't you try and fake it.
Yeah, no faking those tears.
I think that's those are interesting suggestions. I'd be interested to see how that would play out when you actually tried to build it.
Yeah, give it a faction system, replay famous Pokemon battles. That'd be fun.
Yeah, because you wouldn't necessarily need to make a ton of other assets with that. It wouldn't take a ton of expansion on the core gameplay to do that. Like you need some other algorithms to hook up all these other people's like factions and stuff like that. But you don't have, like you said, you don't have to go make an open world. You don't have to make a bunch of dialogue or localizations or anything like that.
You just have an overmap. It's just like, oh, this region, you have to go and battle there now. Claim it back for your clan.
Yep.
That'd be more interesting.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, and an interesting game. It was just cool. It was the
Pokemon Stadium. It was pretty cool.
They had some cool mini games, and I was happy to see Bulbasaur in 3 dimensions.
He looked pretty good.
That's
the first time you ever saw a Poke in 3 dimensions.
Yeah, that one. This game. That was it. Mr. Mime was looking particularly handsome. Handsome Mr. Mime.
Are you a mime guy?
I'm a mime head.
A mime head.
I'm a big mime stan.
Big mime energy. How'd you feel about the Galarian Mr. Mime, like the ice mime?
Great addition to the mime canon.
Then he had like a weird evolution where he got a cane. Did you see that shit?
Yeah, he was like a little older or something like that.
Yeah, he was like...
Senior mime.
Zaddy mime.
Zaddy mime.
Mime daddy.
Mime daddy.
Oh, no. You know that fanfic's out there somewhere already.
Oh yeah, no, I want to turn safe search on and search that one. I do not want to look on the internet.
Are you sure?
For Zaddy mime.
Mime daddy.
Christ alive. No, I cannot go. I will not follow you down this dark road, David.
Live a little. Come on.
Live a little. Cut loose.
Yeah, dude.
Mr. Mime, cut loose. Come and look at Rule 34. Mr. Mime's dick is on the internet. Look at his big old dong.
It's definitely there. You'd probably be some weirdly weird Rule 34 for him.
Yeah, no, again, I will not go down this road.
Real weird. Wow.
We need to get out of this segment before it's even more frightening for anybody who's listening.
That's probably a good call.
So we normally would do a section called Rum Retellings where we opt to tell a story and make it harder for ourselves via controlled substance. But being that it's, let's see, 4 o'clock on a Sunday and it's daylight savings time, I'm tired from last night.
We're not feeling it.
I'm not feeling it. I have drank some water over the course of this podcast, which is the only thing that's going in me right now.
Take care of yourselves, everybody.
Take care of yourself. Sometimes it's important to just hydrate and hang out. And it's not all about drinking. However, we are still going to try and make this pod with the considerations of making a story harder to tell. So with the Pokemon world in mind, I think we're going to try and do the story of Pokemon Red and Blue, which is albeit sparse, but with the parameters of not being able to say Pokemon, like just the word Pokemon, not being able to say the names of any of the Pokemon, not being able to say the names of the characters in the game.
Can we say Pocket Monster?
That just seems like a misnomer, or not a misnomer, but like just another word for Pokemon.
It seems like cheating, so I'm going to say no.
Okay. Are there any other restrictions, some handicaps we should put on ourselves?
So we're pretty much taking out all proper nouns.
Almost all proper nouns.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I can't think of anything else I'd want to restrict myself from being able to say.
Okay, perfect. So there's a town in which I think 5 people live.
There's like 2 houses, 3 houses maybe, and a research center.
And a research center with apparently one of the best like researchers in the land who just happens to live here and nobody gives a shit.
It's in like a backwoods. Oh, well, not backwoods, but they're like a small seafaring town.
Yeah, it's awfully tiny. In there, I think you can choose what gender you are in the first ones.
I don't think so.
Oh, really? You're just stuck as standard red person?
Maybe I'm totally wrong.
There are children.
There are 2 children in this village.
There are 2 children, one of which wants to be the very best at capturing and fighting various animals of the land. With one another.
He sure does. He wants to enslave these creatures for his fighting.
So he's going to set out on a journey to catch what seems like, if you've compared to our world, a kind of small amount of animals. There are only 151 different kind of animals.
But all other animals exist still, don't they?
Like cows and shit?
Yeah, like normal animals still exist, but there's like these special animals that are like strong and have elemental powers.
Okay, so he's going to go catch the ones who are the best at killing each other.
Yeah. Elemental creatures. Okay. He's going to catch them.
Okay. And there's also, he has a neighbor who's a shit.
I remember playing this game as a child, and I played on my cousin's cartridge.
Yeah.
For a hot second, just to see how it was.
Yeah.
And he named this character a butt.
Got him.
And I thought that was the most scandalous thing I'd ever seen as a child. I was just like,
I can't believe you've done this.
What? You can't do that.
How did your parents let you get away with this?
And it was lawless over where he was apparently. But anyways, continue.
The neighbor is a real turd.
He's very cocky.
Yeah, thinks he's a lot better at fighting these monsters than you are. Cut to you. I think we're gonna go talk to the researcher in this town, but he was like not home. And so the child just sort of wanders into the forest aimlessly before the researcher says, holy shit, you can't go out there on your own.
You're going to die because these animals will mess you up.
Yeah, that tiny bird over there is going to peck your eyes out.
Birds, the little birds that have
There's
like
some rats.
wind powers. They're essentially Aang from Avatar.
Yeah.
They'll just mess you up. There's little rats that'll bite the hell out of you.
Yeah.
And the dude's like, you have to choose one of these 3 really cool elemental creatures.
You either get a fire lizard, a plant thing.
It's a toad. He's a toad.
A plant toad, or
a grassy toad,
or a turtle that fires water out of its mouth,
or a blue turtle.
So you choose one of those, and he's like, all right, well, you seem totally capable and fine to take care of yourself. Go into the woods now, tiny 10-year-old.
Yeah, 10-year-olds go out and do this. They're like, you're old enough to fight these elemental beasts.
It seems responsible.
Yeah.
And so he sets you loose, and I think you like take some sort of like device to one of his researchers in a town to the north of there. The child does just leave a wake of quote unquote fainted monsters in his path.
If he ain't capturing them, he's knocking them out, giving them hardcore TBI.
Quote unquote knocking them out. I don't know what else you would call this, but I think these Pokemon are dead.
Most likely.
The interpretation of fainting is all in the head of the character. He's just like, oh, they're just taking a nap. I just made them take a long nap.
He's actually just a psychopath. Everybody else just captures Pokemon or is just like, yeah, it's fine, you can go. But he's like, straight up, I'm beating you into the ground.
The very nice professor gave me this monster that I'm gonna use to kill you.
This fire-breathing lizard.
What else? He like goes to this town, gives some other professor some shit. Push comes to shove, the original professor gives this kid a shitty flip phone that tells him about the various monsters in the world.
It's a sassy flip phone too.
It's a sassy little flip phone that will give you information about the pokes in the world.
That's a rapper name for sure.
Flip phone. So the rest of the game is essentially just this child going from town to town, beating everybody in the town until
killing everyone's Pokemon that they have.
Yeah, until he's collected.
I didn't say that word.
Just little monster boys.
Killing everyone else's elemental beasts that they have trained lovingly.
Until he eventually collects 8 little trinkets that will allow him to climb through a mountain and fight 4 very good trainers.
After traveling across the whole continent.
Yeah, the whole
to
thing.
Different towns.
You
as
just
a child.
You walk from one end of it to the other.
He goes through crime scenes. He gets in tussles with
gang members.
With gang members, infiltrates their base. He also goes to a creepy tower where there's a bunch of actual ghosts.
Yeah, real ghosts.
Real ghosts with real psychic ghost powers.
Yeah.
And he's chill.
Like, I'm going to beat you with a Pokemon. Oh, fuck. I'm going to beat you with these monsters that I've collected and trained to fight other ones. Ghost, I'm going to get you.
He's going to get those ghosts.
I believe it. And he does.
Mm-hmm. He does. And he goes on a cruise ship.
Yep.
And gets coronavirus.
And beats everyone else on the cruise ship.
Beats everyone else on the cruise ship. He goes on a safari by himself without parental permission. Mm-hmm. It's pretty crazy. He goes through mountains.
He cuts down trees. He pushes boulders with his pokes. With his monsters.
He flies around on the back of flying beasts.
Of birds.
Birds and dragons.
He teaches these monsters how to fly with him on his back. Which is pretty impressive.
There's also actual dragons in this world.
There are actual
dragons. This 10-year-old child is going out.
Yeah.
to the battle.
So eventually this child does go and beat the best trainers in the land pretty handily.
Mm-hmm.
And then this child is crowned champion of the land.
Champion of the beasts.
It would be like if there was a 10-year-old who was just like, I'm the strongest man in the world. And they're like, yeah, right, dude. And then he just like bench presses like 1,000 pounds. You're like,
they're like, yeah, can't argue with that. Damn.
I guess you are the strongest person in the world. I told you I was the strongest.
Mm-hmm.
I'll bench a bench press.
I'll bench a bench press.
I'll bench a dragon.
He's not even going to bench like the bar. He just takes the whole bench press.
Pushes it. I'm going to move the earth out of the way a couple inches.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to bench press this fire-breathing dragon.
I'll bench press my grandpa.
You don't have a grandpa.
That's true. That's not canon.
He doesn't even have a dad.
Yeah, that's also true. Don't know where dad is.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of story in this game. Now that I'm trying to say what actually happens in this game, there doesn't seem to actually be any story.
I mean, there's Team Rocket.
I'm sorry, I don't recognize what that is.
Oh, there's the Mafia.
There is the Pokemon mob. Fuck. There is the Mafia of monsters.
The Monster Mafia.
Yeah.
The Beast Mafia.
The Beast Mafia.
They try and steal the most powerful creatures in the land.
They do start the Beast Wars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Beast Wars. And they also resurrect the mightiest, or create the mightiest beast of all through genetic man.
There is some genetic modification that happens.
Yeah. Yeah, you also go out to an island. You ride one of your creatures to a set of islands off the shore. And there's this creepy research lab there that has it's just destroyed.
And there's a monster there.
And there's a monster in there. Actually, he's not there, but he used to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He kind of looks like a human a little bit with a tail.
Yeah. He's like a cat human thing.
Yeah.
Like a naked cat. That's cats?
Horrifying. That's very scary.
Yeah. A furless cat the size of a man who talks through his mind.
And the child's response is, I'm going to put him in a ball.
The Master Ball. He'll never escape from this one.
Anyway, he's the champion of the world, and then he catches every single monster and puts them in his magic balls.
Pause. What do you say about magic balls?
These balls that he uses, he throws them at the monsters, and he puts them in the balls, and they shrink, I think, in the balls. They're turned into energy. Could
you put a human in a Pokeball?
It is sort of the dark underbelly of the Pokemon world, right? Like
how does it know it's a Pokemon?
Yeah, what's stopping? I think if you were the champion of the world at 10 years old, you would definitely try and put a human in a Pokeball.
Probably.
You'd probably try and put your little rival neighbor shithead who's been with you this whole time, losing the whole time. He never beats you. You would put him in a Pokeball.
So then if you captured a trainer, would it be you would put them out in battle and they would use their creatures as well as your... It's like adding a health bar.
This is some dark fan fiction here.
Second health bar. The unbeatable trainer.
Yep.
With a team of trainers. So instead of having 6 Pokemon, you have 36?
Oh god. It's rough. This is a rough thing. I think that's the whole story of Pokemon, so let's just get out of this fucking segment before it's any more terrifying. All 10 minutes of this wondrous, very well planned segment.
Yeah, it was interesting.
We did a great job. Sorry there's no alcohol. I'm just drinking water.
Yeah, that was
Go easy on me.
Also, I rewatched the first episode of Pokemon recently. It's on Netflix. And Ash literally yells, "Enjoy your last moments of freedom, Pidgey, because you're mine now." And then tries to throw a Pokeball and capture it. Terrifying.
Christ alive. Yeah, that's spooky.
Different time.
A different time. Do you have gaming wisdom? Maybe Pokemon themed?
Oh, yeah. Okay. My Pokemon gaming wisdom.
Talk to me.
No one's perfect, right? So you have to rely on your friends and your family to help make up for your own individual weaknesses. And then you will also help them with your strengths and your abilities. And together you will form an unstoppable team that will be able to take over the world.
And put your best friends in a magic ball so they'll be your fighting companion for the rest of their lives.
You know, your friends will never die if you put them in a Pokeball. Just take them to a Pokemon Center. Free healthcare, baby. That's Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, that's free healthcare. Let's go, Bernie. Let's do it.
You never pay for a Pokemon Center.
It's true. It's always free. Yeah, that's good stuff. That's very inspiring. Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you have anything?
I think I'm just going to quote us from earlier. Pokemon Stadium. That's just cool. That's just fucking cool.
That's just tight.
So, a little housekeeping before we get out of here. For those of you who are just starting to listen, if you haven't already, could you do us one big favor? If you are on any of the podcasting hosting sites, give us a little review. Give us a little hey, these boys are doing God's work out here, talking good things about video games.
God's work, my God.
It's God's plan, baby. That's what Drake said.
God plan. That's my best Drake.
I know that some of you have already. Oh my God. Some of you have already given us a review, and we deeply appreciate it. But if you haven't already, please, it would be doing us a great service.
God plan. God plan.
I'm also going to. I don't have this set up yet, but in the next episode, I'll have an email set up that if anybody at home has a Podtimistic take of the week or a game that they would like us to talk about, you can send that in. So I'll have a URL for y'all to get engaged next time.
Man, interaction with our listeners?
That's just professional podcasting, baby.
Garen, you have our direct line, so
yeah, you have our actual phone number, so give us a call. We'll answer those.
Oh man, if we ever get big, we have to have merch that just says "I heart Garen" on it.
God damn, yeah, that's true. I do heart Garen.
Heart Garen.
Anyway, yeah, as a couple of great famous podcasters once said, that's just cool, man.
That's just cool, man.
That's just cool. What did Wall ever do to you?
You shitty Wall. No, you love your walls.
It's true. Okay.
Unless you're Trump, then don't love your wall. That's a bad wall, actually. That's a wall you don't want.
That's a pretty bad wall. That wall.
That's
did
an angry
stuff
wall.
To people.
That's a bad person wall.
Okay. We'll talk to you guys on the next one, huh?
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.